Frankie, would you like to introduce yourself for the camera, please?
Hi, I'm Frankie Rufolo. I'm the For Britain candidate for the Tiverton and Honiton by-election. I'm originally from Exeter, but I've got family here in this constituency. We travelled all over the southwest working for different charities, and having been a county council candidate a couple of times, I pay close attention to all the politics of Devon. So.
Brilliant. So you said you're the For Britain candidate,
yes.
Right? Yes. And from Mid-Devon, do you have many ties to the Mid-Devon area?
So my great-granddad lives here in Tiverton. I used to work in Crediton, and when we were doing door-to-door charity work for Cliff Sargent, for Scope, the disabilities charity, we were going all over the southwest, including I think the last place we did was Seaton, which is also in the constituency.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So can you tell me 3 surprising or interesting facts about yourself, please?
Okay, I came second in the National Youth/Fiction competition back in 2018.
Wow.
I saw a little story in Plymouth Live about the rat problem down there and wrote a little in-betweeners-esque story of this competition. I used to teach children the trumpet, and the former Doctor Who, Sylvester McCoy, played the Doctor back in the 80s. He hit me on the head with a microphone when I was 16.
What, aggressively?
No, it was a joke. So I asked him about something my mates and I were at Comic-Con, and I asked him a question that he didn't like, and it was being silly. I was only 16 at the time. But,
did it hurt?
No, it was funny.
That's good, good. Okay, so in your eyes, what does the role of an MP entail?
You're a representative, you're an elected representative, you have to listen to all of your constituents. You can't please everyone all the time, and if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, but you do have to listen to different people and respond to your emails and fight for the interests of your people, your constituency first in Parliament, while you are also a voice on all sorts of issues around the country and around the globe.
Brilliant. What do you think would make you a good MP?
Well, some people say, oh, Frankie, you're too controversial. But the thing is, if I wasn't an outspoken person, if I never had an opinion on anything, there wouldn't be any point in me standing. I'm someone who pays a lot of attention to the local area. I'm out knocking on doors, speaking to people who say, you're the first person who's knocked on my door. I haven't had anyone around in 10 years. So it's that personal connection to the area, and that being a real voice in Parliament, challenging the Prime Minister and the main parties.
Okay, brilliant. And so speaking of campaigning, what are your priorities when you're campaigning in the constituency?
Having worked with children for years, I think education is a big one. The lockdowns, the pandemic, of course, a lot of disruption to children's education. And for Britain, we have sound education policies with a new curriculum. But here in Devon, we've got a lot of overcrowded classrooms. A lot of classrooms are above the national average. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about Tiverton High School getting overcrowded. Special educational needs are being neglected. I speak to parents who are affected by this on the doorstep. And what we need to do, I think, is have a new grammar school for Tiverton, so that working class kids in this town have the chance of an education that Boris Johnson and Jacob Rees-Mogg take for granted. They can really excel on an academic level, and at the same time all the other schools, comprehensives and that, can help kids catch up on all the learning they've missed during the pandemic, and offer that focused support that a lot of kids in Devon really need but not always getting. And I also think transport is an issue as well. So Clumpton has been promised a new relief road for years, the new railway train station for years, and that hasn't happened. Neil Parish was trying to get that, but that levelling up funding, but his own foolish actions have put all that in jeopardy. And I think we've got to get those things built to get Devon moving again, and to ease the problem with big trucks and lorries going through the narrow streets of mid-Devon towns. It causes damage, it causes bottlenecks and disruption, it causes a lot of worry for local people. And my friend's a trucker, and it's not fair on her to put her in that situation either. So we've got to get the relief road done. And similar problems here in Tiverton with Bickleigh Bridge. Trucks keep getting crashing or getting stuck on the bridge.
I think it's a record now, isn't it, the amount of damages that bridge has had?
Well, is it the most damaged bridge in the world?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, a lot of bridges, hundreds of bridges in Devon are substandard. So I think in order to protect this historic bridge, a lot of people are saying we just have some new traffic lights I wouldn't rule out having a new bridge for Tiverton for bigger trucks and lorries to cross. According to the Plymouth Herald, just 1% of the budget for HS2 could really improve all the railway infrastructure and everything across Devon. And for Britain, we're against HS2. It's a Tory vanity project. And we would spend that money, some of that money here in Devon, on transport and infrastructure to reconnect the southwest. Because the Tories are not even intending to help the southwest. The Transport Minister was on the news talking about the new Elizabeth line in London. She talked about the Midlands, the North, nothing about the southwest.
Okay, that's really good, thank you. And what's your message for people who are on the fence of which way to vote?
Well, I speak to a lot of people who are saying, oh, we've got to vote Lib Dem to keep the Tories out, or we've got to vote Conservative to keep Labour or the Lib Dems out. And I'd say to them, look, this is a parliamentary by-election, this is one seat. Whoever wins, the Tories are going to be in government, even if Boris Johnson is not. So you don't need to vote tactically like you would in a general election where the whole country could go one way or the other. You can have a chance to vote for someone who's really different, who would bring about some real change, and who understands the area, and who would speak out and open up the conversation by talking about all these issues that a lot of the main parties are not.
Okay, great. And so now I just have some quick fire questions for you. So, what's your favourite place to go for a walk in the constituency?
Probably Beer. I've got very fond memories of that little East Devon seaside village. I'm not the biggest fan of pebble beaches, but the one in Beer is nice, and walking on the cliffs and everything, and then going to the pub for some locally sourced fish or shellfish is really nice.
Cool. And what about your favourite place for a cream tea?
My grandpa's house in Axminster.
Grandpa's house.
Yeah, his wife does good sort of home. They grow a lot of their own food, and they do good homemade jam and scones and everything.
Yeah, I can
so,
see. I can see that.
She's a Remainer, but I'm hopefully going to win her over with this little battle.
If a VIP came to constituency, where is the first place you'd take them?
Probably somewhere around here in Tiverton town centre. There's a lot of history here, and a lot of great local people. I don't know if you've noticed this at the local paper, but many times I've had a job in East Devon or Mid Devon, and the place is terrible for gossip because everyone's from small towns where everyone knows everyone.
Yes, everyone does know everyone.
But there's lots of history here. You've got the statue of King Edward VII, who was a surprisingly good king, although he was against giving women vote, but that was typical of the time. You've got all the history of Blundell's and it being a historic market town and everything. And obviously it's right in the biggest settlement in the constituency, so a good place to get some of the views of the people here, but obviously you've got to reach out to the whole area.
Okay, and what's your favourite fact about the constituency?
That's a good question. Let me just kind of think about that.
That's fine, take a sip of your tea and have a think.
My favourite fact is that Tiverton and Honiton voted overwhelmingly to leave the European Union, and it's a rejection of the Lib Lab Con, it's a rejection of the political establishment, and hopefully this by-election is happening on June 23rd. It'll be exactly 6 years since 2016. 6 years. Well, I can do my maths, I promise.
I can't.
There's a chance to vote for a real Brexiteer again, and vote for real change, and someone who believes in what you believed in all those years ago, not someone who had no respect for your vote, or who very reluctantly got behind the idea.
Okay, and then the final one is, if I gave you £1,000, which charity or charities would you donate it to or split it between?
I've got a couple of wristbands here for Veterans Charities, Gurkha Welfare Trust, Help for Heroes. So if I would split it, would probably be between one of those, the Sikh Awareness Society, which is a charity run by British Sikhs who raise awareness about sexual abuse and help prevent sexual abuse, who they understand that it's not just the victim who needs counselling, it's the mother and the father and so on as well. And they do a lot they've helped a lot of people, so that's a good Sikh charity I would donate to, and possibly a local charity like Devon Ambulance.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. We are going to continue eating our scones and green tea. But thank you very much for sitting down with me and answering those questions.
Thanks for having me.